Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with Hate, and with me, as always, in the flesh again is my co-host Tavi. Hello, Tavi.
Yes. Hey, again, if we didn't fuck up our first recording and we actually use it.
Right.
Otherwise, this could be our first time.
Yeah, this might be your first time seeing our faces. In that case, hello. Hello.
Yeah, so
Hello.
let's look at the camera. Hello to
Let's mug.
everyone. I mean, I'm sure we'll use the other footage, even if it's just audio.
Yeah. Just in order to skip a recap. Yeah.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you know me. I don't like I don't like wasted work.
Cool. Yeah. And you took the trip over here, so we might as well use what we can.
Yeah. Even if it's shit, we're gonna use it. Even if it doesn't make sense, we're gonna use it because that's the principle about filmmaking. It's don't kill your darlings. Use all the darlings.
Use every little bit of material you record.
Yeah, because you paid for it.
And so too will you, the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. This is our first live recording of an actual episode, so bear with us if there are technical hiccups, but it is what it is. Doesn't matter with what we're talking about today, because with what we're talking about today is something that, doesn't really need embellishing. It is Attack on Titan Season 4, very popular anime, an anime that we've been following for many years now, just because they've been stretching it for so long. Right?
What, 2013?
Yeah.
Was when it was released?
Yeah.
We watched it together for the first time on our second Japan trip, I'm pretty sure. I remember in our hotel in Shinjuku, we watched Wolf on Wall Street, and then we...
I fell asleep during that movie.
Yeah. It's a good movie, though. You should watch it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a commentary on the quality of the film. I was just really tired because, traveling with friends, you're drinking every night with no rest breaks.
Yeah, in our 20s. We can't really do that anymore, can we? But yeah, no, we smashed the first season of Attack on Titan in a hotel room.
Which was very good. For those of you that haven't watched this anime, this is going to be heavy spoiler. It's a heavy spoiler episode. I don't think we can talk about this series without really spoiling it. So if you've heard about it and you haven't gotten around to watching it, don't listen to this. Go to Crunchyroll or something and watch the backlog of episodes.
Yeah, get your 14-day trial and just smash it.
Binge it,
in 2 weeks. It's really easy to binge.
It is, 20-minute episodes ish, and like the story flies. But I mean, basically, it's like the first 3 seasons follow the lines of these people live in a kingdom that is surrounded by man-eating giants. They're under constant threat of these giants, and because of this, they haven't really been able to exit the walls of their kingdom, because if they do, these titans will eat them. If you want to, you can go ahead and watch our recap of seasons 1 through 4.5. It kind of summarizes everything that's happened up till the second half of the 4th season.
I actually haven't watched that video.
Of course you haven't. This was just me. I put in a lot of work to make that video, to make sure everyone was caught up. And yeah, Tabi didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Typical Tabi.
I just I saw it there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I didn't know what happened anyway, so it's
a lot happens as well. Like and because it was so spread out over like such a long period of time, I myself needed kind of reminding of what happened. Like when you go back into an anime and you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening?
Actually, I didn't watch. I watched season 1, and then I didn't watch it for a long time, because I remember when we were living and working in Japan. That was when Attack on Titan Season 2 was coming out, and there were warnings about people, not about the graphic violence that's in the show, but more about don't get too addicted and go to your work. Don't get too addicted to Attack on Titan. And it's easy to see why, because it is definitely one of the most gripping stories. And like, I'd heard a lot of good things about the following season, but I kind of just stopped. I think at that point I wasn't really watching that much anime. So then, I heard about like season 3 had come out. I was like, haven't you watched it yet? And then I heard that season 4 was the final season. Well, the final season. So the final season, part 1, was coming out. It had already been halfway, and then I just wanted to catch up with the pack because I heard so many of my friends like, you got to watch Attack on Titan. You got to watch Attack on Titan. And I enjoyed the first season a lot, for sure. But I was like, I didn't. For some reason, I wasn't fully compelled.
It's not
to watch
that dissimilar to other shonen anime, right? The first 3 seasons, at least, it's like quite like you have your hero in Erwin, you got your supporting cast of characters, and like you have that kind of thing of where the main character starts off as a scrub and then kind of becomes more and more powerful in order to defeat more and more difficult foes. Like there is the intrigue of like you never really know like what's going on outside of the kingdom, or like because you only really get, for the first 3 seasons anyway, you only really get the perspective of Eren and the people that live in that kingdom. So and to be honest, like I never really like thought about the outside world for the first 3 seasons. Like I because you kind of fall into that thing of like, this is the place where the anime is set. So I don't need to know anything like outside of this place. It's kind of like how in Naruto, you like grow up in Konoha. And you're like, I don't care about anything else that's going on in Konoha. But then like as the story progresses, you get to know more and more about the outside world. And the same thing happens in Attack on Titan, but the difference is in the 4th season, it like, there's a huge jump between what you experience in this kingdom that they live in and what is in the outside world.
It's funny because watching the first few seasons, you're right. Like I did only think the world did not exist outside the wall.
It's just humans versus Titans, right? It's quite simple.
And then there's the big sudden intrigue is that there is a world outside. And I think Attack on Titan is like the kind of the story of, or maybe the modern myth that we'll have from this century, from our generation. Because I actually think the story that Attack on Titan is telling and its themes are super important. Like there's a lot of really rich thematic elements and really nuanced takes on people. And I think it is really like cleverly written show that is so entertaining. Yeah, it makes you think a lot. I always say to people, like, Attack on Titan should almost be taught. No, not almost. It should be taught in schools.
And mainly in this 4th season, right? I mean, there is a huge shift in this 4th season. A lot of it, I found, has been foreshadowed in previous seasons, for sure. But, like, the 4th season is where you really find that big shift towards more, like, parallels between the real world and this anime.
It is, for a show about people pelvic thrusting into the air and killing titans and killing giant titans and
that look really weird.
It is honestly one of the most realistic depictions of humanity that I've seen on a show.
And I think we'll get into that a bit later in the episode. But for now, I just want to talk about our first viewing experience of the 4th season specifically, because I remember when you first watched the 4th season, it was after maybe a long break from the series.
I smashed through them from 2, 3 to 4.
Oh, okay.
I binged it. Like I said, I don't binge stuff often, but I think I really wanted to catch up.
So you experienced that jarring shift between the 3rd season and the 4th season.
Yeah, like instantly.
What was your reaction to watching the first half of the 4th season?
I was like, what? It was, I didn't expect it to happen. I mean, So
the 3rd season ends with them having like this huge showdown between Zeke and the Beast Titan and the Colossal Titan and Reiner's Armored Titan. And then like they beat them eventually, and then they're forced to retreat, and then they discover like a port and the sea. So it's the first time they see the sea. But then the first episode of the 4th season jumps into the kingdom of Mali, which is the kingdom on the other side of the sea. So like,
and then there's no Mikasa, there's no Armin, there's no Eren for a little while. I remember the first viewing experience. There's obviously a character, and I think there's obviously a character that you just hate instantly. Or not instantly. After they've done what they've done, you're like, I don't like this character.
Okay, sure. I know what you mean. I think a lot of people on the internet
I think it's just
surely felt the same way.
But when I was watching it, I knew you're going to get to understand this character and like them. And that's... it's funny because Attack on Titan is... Elements of it are quite predictable, but it doesn't matter because it's well told. But then there's some really unpredictable shit.
Sure.
Obviously with Eren's shift turning into the villain, which is very odd because he's been your protagonist for 3 seasons. And then suddenly he's whispering into people's ears.
Protagonist
Whispering into Will Smith's ear, telling him to slap. If anyone's seen that meme.
I haven't seen it, but I can imagine.
It's really funny. One of the better Will Smith memes that I've seen is whispering into him.
I mean, you're right. He was a protagonist for a long time, and not even a secondary protagonist. It's not like a Sasuke shift in terms of like, switching to the dark side. This is like the guy that you've been following for 3 seasons, and now he's like,
he's a fucking gangster.
Like, he's fucking sexy as fuck.
Because he's basically a damsel almost for the first 3 seasons. It's always
he's like the quintessential like shonen character. I need to get stronger so I can protect my friends.
But then suddenly he's like, I need to kill everyone. And I think that's like the brilliance of this show is the conflict of who you're supposed to root for. Because even in the previous seasons, you kind of understand that there's different sides. When you find out that Reiner and Berthold were Titans. Which is funny because actually at that point in the season... and I think some other people experienced this too. The reveal of Bertolt and Reiner being Titans kind of just like...
It's very flippant.
Yeah.
By the way, where the Armored Titan and the Colossal Titan...
What? I was like, what the fuck? What? And they're just Titans.
I think like... Yeah, you're right. A lot of it is kind of touched upon in the previous seasons. But the 4th season is where you really get like an insight on their point of view. Because like the 4th season is kind of like you get to see a lot of different people's point of view of the story. It's not just Eren's point of view anymore. Because when Eren finds out at first that Reiner and Berthold are the Colossal and the Armored Titan, he feels betrayed, right? Like... And we as the audience feel betrayed as well, like, because...
Yeah, you want to kill Reiner, man. You're like, fuck you.
Because at that point, there were only 2 sides. It was, like, the good guys versus the Titans. But the 4th season is where it gets really convoluted. And it's like, you realize that, like, there are good guys on both sides. There are bad guys on both sides. The Titans are not necessarily bad guys. They're really just instruments of war. And I think that is, like, the effectiveness of this season, but as like of the series as a whole, it's like, there's no clear good guy and bad guy. Like we say Eren is the bad guy for this season,
but he's not. It's very like it's again.
I don't want to promote genocide.
You don't want to promote genocide,
scale, but
you almost understand his reasoning because we've been following this guy, and look, it's. Who's the mangaka of this anime?
Hajime Isayama is the artist.
No, it is, Hajime Isayama. Yeah, right. So, it's pretty clear that Hajime Isayama has a pretty good grasp on history. Like, because there's obviously parallels between World War One, and the kind of the Stalinist days and whatnot, like just kind of that brainwashing of people.
We were talking about the music, and the intro themes, even from season 1. It's very like nationalistic.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like they say it a lot in the fourth season, like Shinzo or Sasageyooo, give your heart.
Yeah.
It's very, and I remember I was watching a live performance by Linked Horizon, and it's very like, if I wanted to, if I was going to join the war, I'd be listening to these guys because it's very nationalistic, and I find that very odd to be used as art because it's almost, there's a very big kind of propaganda feel to it.
But it's definitely intentional.
Yeah.
Because like I mentioned before, there's a lot of foreshadowing, and even from like the intros to the anime, a lot of what happens in the future seasons is foreshadowed in like those intros, which is, it's really cool because you see that level of planning where they're like, yeah, we intend to steer the story in this direction, yeah, and I think the nationalist themes of the like, it's very intentional, the music choices and like the imagery as well that they portray in those first intros to the first few seasons is, but yeah, like for when you first watched this fourth season and you saw the shift between like what we were experiencing in the Kingdom of Eldia as we now know it is, but it shifts towards the Kingdom of Mali where you get introduced to a whole new set of characters. And you don't really, none of the old characters really get a mention for the first maybe 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Were you like taken away from the story at all?
I'll tell you when you pass me a beer. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
We got that shot in the frame of the beer, so that's the reason that the fridge is there. So we can
easily access the alcohol.
We actually had a fair few today. I was a bit loosey-goosey before, but maybe I've sobered up a bit, but that's going to change. It definitely was a shift because it's a massive risk because I guess it's different for series but when you're kind of doing a rising tension story, let's say in a film, it's always, the general storytelling's always got to keep rising until the climax, right? But what Attack on Titan does, it's been rising, and then it just goes way back down again to these new characters. And I guess you can kind of say between the seasons, it's rising tension. But you've completely sidelined everything that we've been watching all this time because you want to know what the fuck is out there from the perspective of, Eren, Armin, Mikasa, and, Connie, Jean, and Sasha. You want to know, but then it's just these new characters, and like, who the fuck are these guys? Like,
and it's not just the characters as well. It's the setting, it's the tone, like the art style as well kind of shifts.
Because there's different studios.
It is a different studio, so that's probably unintentional. But like, because the architecture of the world also changes, you're like, it's so jarring when you first see it because you're like put in a completely new space and being told a completely different story because it's from the eyes of like a different perspective as well. So like these Marleyans, even though like if we had watched them back to back, we would know these Marleyans are like the bad guys, I guess, from the Eldians' point of view. But because for me, there was such a big break between the 2 seasons, season 3 and season 4, I was like, this is just a whole new story. This is a whole new series, Like these guys are not bad guys, they're just new characters, So it was really interesting that they took that turn, and I guess it follows along with the manga. So like,
from what I haven't read the manga yet. I probably will after finishing recording this because I want to know now.
Even though it's different, right?
I actually rewatched the I guess first part of the final season, because a group of friends and we tried to marathon it in one night, which we failed because we started at like 10 p.m. But I actually enjoyed it almost more. I still liked it the first time, but I was just like kind of still getting used to new characters and getting used to the fact that Eren is our antagonist at the moment. But like I kind of appreciate its message that we were saying before, there is not there's not a good or bad guy. It is just people following
it's not
ideologies.
fucking Star Wars.
No, it's not Star Wars.
Even though for our Star Wars fans listening, I know it's more nuanced than the light side and the dark side and all that. But, you know, like...
you need stories like
I've been
Star
watching
Wars
Obi-Wan lately.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, the bad guys are clearly bad guys in that show. I don't care what you say about ambiguity. Like, they look so fucking evil. But these people are just people. Like, Falco, Gabby, Colt... General McCarthy, is that his name?
Yeah, McGath.
Yeah. Like they're all like you can find their equivalent in Eldia, in the population of Eldia, which we've been like experiencing this story through as well.
And that's why I think this is literally like a text that should, you know, be taught, because there's just so many different things about, you know, compassion for your enemies.
Depending on how the story goes from now. If Eren turns out to be right and that wiping off all the rest of humanity is the right thing to do, then maybe we shouldn't study it, because that could lead to disaster.
It could. But like, it's just, you know, I mean, we shouldn't promote genocide.
I mean, the point is, there is not really any clear... like the clear good sides and bad sides. Like everybody has like their own perspective on the way things should be. And I think, like you said, that this season really demonstrates that fact. The new characters, Gabby, Falco, Colt, and Magath, and the others which die. How did you feel about them? You mentioned you hate Gabby.
Yeah, the thing is like... because Sasha is, I mean, she's not the most important character, but she's a very likable character, So when you see her get shot by Gabby, you're like, fuck you, you little shit. And you see this kid, Gabby, who is so brainwashed by the Malayan Empire. But you know her arc is going to be, I'm going to understand these people. And I knew that she was going to eventually meet someone who was related to Sasha and realize that she's not, what she's doing is not necessarily wrong, because you still empathize with her, because all her life she's hated the people from Paradise Island. But you end up kind of liking her in the end, because she learns, she goes through her arc, you know, she realizes that, what did she say in the show? There's no devils here, it's just people.
Well, she says, I think, something along the lines of she is the devil.
Yeah,
actually, she was the devil all along, and she's backed up by Colt, who says, you know, we've got a devil inside all of us, which is essentially true,
Oh, like, most definitely. I mean, especially, like, we keep talking about the sadness and how much we enjoyed it. There's obviously the devil inside of us, you know.
That's a bit more clear-cut. But yeah, like, for Gabby, it's also because, like I said, there are parallels between her and Eldian counterparts. Like, she's very similar to Eren. Like the way Eren was brought up, hating the Titans and just manifesting this hatred towards the Titans that he couldn't really justify, only that they were the enemy, you know? Like, until his mom got eaten. But they were the enemy, really. And to her, like, the Eldians are the enemy. So, like, for Eren, you know, killing his first Titan was like, for us, it was victorious. Because we could see it from his lens. But I'm sure there's a bunch of Titans sitting around watching this anime going, I can't believe they fucking killed Bob, man. I can't believe Eren killed Bob. He was the best one of us. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to see it from different points of view. But yeah, like this new Kingdom of Mali, it's like a bit more technologically advanced than Eldia. We at the start of season 4, we kind of get to see things play out from that side of the ocean. We get introduced to a few more important characters like Willie Tybur, who is like the head of this Eldian family.
Willie.
I love that name. I love that name for a noble. It's like Big Willie. But his family has possession of the Warhammer Titan, even though they're Eldians, they're like pretty high up in standing, because like they had a part to play in defeating the old Eldian Empire or something along those lines. It gets pretty confusing this season. Yeah,
it's pretty convoluted, but I don't think I was ever lost in the show.
I think I was like, some things kind of washed over me. Like it wasn't that important to understand it fully. And then it was only after I watched it and I looked back on things and I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense because of this and this.
Well, I think the show has such a strong story and such strong characters that you'll forget the plot, but the crux of the heart of the story is there. So it doesn't matter, because there's definitely things that I don't remember.
There was a
from
whole
season
part
1 to 3,
where, you know, when Willie Tybur is like doing his like play
like
kind of thing. His theatrical
speech,
thing where he's like basically declaring war on Eldia because Eren is in power of this founder Titan and he's like a loose cannon, basically. And for that whole thing, my entire attention was like centered around Eren and Reiner, their interaction in the basement, because it's really that tense moment where like you don't know like when Eren's gonna snap. You know he's probably gonna do something crazy, but you don't know what he's gonna do. So like for me, like Willie Tybur's declaration of war and like the whole thing where he kind of like strategized with Magath that like this whole thing was going to play out because they knew there were spies in Marley at that time, and Willie knew that he probably wasn't going to get out of this alive. And it was probably his intent that he was going to get killed, like to kind of like spur the masses to go against Eldia. Like that whole thing went over my head and the first time I watched it.
Actually no, I think I agree with that too. I think I picked that up on the second time I watched the first half. I'm like, this guy, he mentions a lot that like he's probably not gonna get off that stage. Like he knows something is gonna happen. So no, you're probably right about that.
It's like a fairly important plot point, but at the same time, it's not crucial.
It's pretty subtle
to understanding like what happens next.
Yeah, you gotta listen to Eren and Reiner talk about like dropping their drip. Like, you know, like, Reiner, like I hear your drip is shit.
You think you have drip, but actually you don't have drip.
One of the best things that come out of Attack on Titan is the Attack on Drip memes. Like I had no idea what drip meant because we're like millennials in our 30s now. So I'm like, what the fuck is drip? And it's just like, it's the concept of it is so, because it's so stupid, because Attack on Titan is a pretty serious show. So when you have these moments and people have re-edited them with the characters wearing Supreme and playing like trap, it is so funny. Like some of the scenes that I rewatched again that were like pretty heavy plot points, I just laughed because I could just hear the drip songs just come on.
It's a bit too serious.
I think it's these kind of memes that take the edge off a little bit, which is it's kind of good.
It's fun.
It's fun, because Attack on Titan is not for the light of heart, because you were saying before it gets to be a pretty typical shonen anime, but it also subverts your expectations a bit. Like, especially during season 1, where I don't remember the name of the troop, but it's basically Levi's crew.
The guy that can smell real good.
No, like, you know that whole crew that just gets killed by Annie?
Oh, yeah.
Is that Levi's crew?
Yeah, a lot of Levi's crew gets killed, to be fair.
They're so cool and so, like, you know, they're so well-renowned in the world.
Yeah.
And then they just get crushed by Annie, like, just, like bugs, really. And it's just like, oh, damn, man. And,
speaking of Levi, it's not much Levi in this season.
Yeah, he gets
Gets wrecked.
Gets wrecked by Zeke. I think
Well, he has a moment where he like it's really cool because Zeke does his scream and transforms like pretty much every soldier that's been drinking wine tainted with his spinal fluid into a Titan, which is like all of Levi's crew basically. Except for Levi, who chose not to drink.
Yeah, because it's too cool.
Yeah, he's too cool to drink.
Yeah.
So basically, like Zeke is running away, trying to escape, and there's all these Titans kind of protecting him.
Yeah.
And they're all former members of Levi's crew. And Zeke's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get away because Levi can't kill these guys."
Yeah, yeah.
And then Levi just kills them. Like,
But Levi is OP. But it kind of shows that he's human as well because he gets wrecked. And he's basically lost his fingers or something.
He's lost his fingers, lost half his face,
Yeah.
just because he didn't think that Zeke had the guts to blow himself up.
Yeah.
Which he did.
But I think Levi's coolness, they can't really spam that too much. It's not really about that anymore.
And I think a lot of it, the following on from this season will be the anticipation of when is he going to get back into this fight as well.
I think so. Yeah.
In what capacity will he be get?
Because you actually think he's dead because the first image you see of him on final season part 2 is just him like.
It's like half his face is like
I was pretty like surprised. I'm like, whoa.
Because it's not like a glamorous death either.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it happens after a flashback on Zeke's end.
Yeah.
And it just happens and like he doesn't really get a heroic moment. It just happens.
But I don't think they want to. Obviously, he's not dead. He just refuses to die because it's just
Hanji finds him, rescues him.
Well, the thing is, that's a massive plot hole because he is human and he survived an explosion at that close capacity. But he's just like, he's an Ackerman. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this season was kind of like it. In a lesser anime, I would say it's contrived because like a lot of the time it's like, oh, by the way, the founder Titan can do this. By the way, the attack Titan can do this. Yeah. So like,
has Zeke's spinal fluid always been a thing? I don't remember. I knew he could control Titans, but it's just like, oh, now I can just do this.
He can only control Titans that have been changed with his spinal fluid.
Yeah.
So like presumably
but how much
when he
spinal fluid does one person like make?
I think they got it over a long period of time. So they allowed him to recover. It's just like tapping his spine on a daily basis.
That's a lot of spinal fluid. I mean, I know he's a Titan, but like...
Yeah, it's a lot of Titans to be making.
But how much percentage of a spinal, like, is it just like
it's
literally...
true, actually. I never thought of that because like all of the Titans that they drop out, maybe it's not only Zeke's spine though. Because I don't remember, remember in the first episode where they're dropping all the Eldians out of the plane? And then somebody screams and they all get turned into Titans. But I don't remember who screams.
Zeke.
Is it Zeke?
Yeah, it's Zeke.
So it must be his spinal fluid.
It's his spinal fluid. I'm pretty sure it's Zeke when I rewatched it.
I don't know if it's a unique ability of his or if Reiner can tap into his spine and do the same thing.
No, I think it's a Zeke.
Yeah, the guy must have a lot of spinal fluid.
That guy's like, that's a lot of spinal fluid. That's like, you're basically a soft drink manufacturing company worth of spinal
just
fluid.
Getting tapped on the thing. But he's got regenerative abilities, presumably.
True, yeah.
So
I guess it's like, look,
that's the thing where like it's like, yeah, by the way, they can do this, you know? Like a lot of it is that. And a lot of the parts where like the more trippy aspects of the anime where it starts to get into like the time bending stuff, it's like, oh yeah, the founding Titan can do this and this and this. The attack Titan can look into the past but also into the future. And we're like, okay, cool, I guess,
that's fair enough.
And like I said, in a worse written anime, I would be like, that's fucking bullshit. That's just lazy writing. But like in this, it does seem like a lot of it is intentional and they haven't just like bullshitted.
Yeah, as you said, like suspension of disbelief. You know, you enjoy the anime, you enjoy the story so much. You're just like, yeah, all right. You've got a factory's worth of spinal fluid. You can suddenly look at the past.
Why not? I mean, that's not even the most unbelievable part of this anime. It's like...
Or the fact that you don't get, like, whiplash from pelvic thrusting.
They trained, They trained for a long time to avoid that.
Their neck muscles must be, like, fucking titanium. Like, for sure. Like I get whiplash from reading too long in my seat.
Yeah, but you're not a young, malleable youth.
Yeah, but who's that guy, the commander that gets kicked the shit out of? But but like that guy, he's not young.
Pretty important.
He's important. He helps McGuff like blow up that ship.
We should remember his name. Let me look it up.
There's too many people.
Shadis, Keith Shadis.
So yeah, Shadis is like, that guy's older than us. He's just like pelvic.
But I mean, he's had a career in the army.
Yeah,
we haven't.
True.
And
we're definitely the newer generation that haven't experienced.
Can you imagine
shit.
us on ODM gear?
No, I wouldn't.
We'd get all tangled up and shit.
I'd be dead. I'm just dead. I'd be that guy who goes, yosh. I'm dead, man. I see a Titan. It's kind of like when me and you talk about the sea and like we see a shark, we're just dead. Just like, nah. Just no, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Opt out at the first opportunity.
Done. Just done. I see a Titan run towards me. Done.
Nah.
Just want that to be instant, man.
A lot of people get in that situation and they can't really do anything about it except get eaten.
But yeah.
Except the Yosh guy, I guess. He's my hero. He's the real MVP.
Season 1. I mean, what do we...
But talking about the more unbelievable aspects of the anime, so like there's a part where Eren and Zeke make contact.
Yeah.
And they go into the realm that's like the coordinate realm. Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I've heard it referred to as a lot of things. It's like the path realm, the path dimension, the coordinate realm. It's like this otherworldly realm where the first girl that transforms into a Titan, Ymir, she's there. And basically time flows differently in this realm. So every time the characters bite themselves or injure themselves and turn into a Titan, she's making the Titans with sand by scratch. So in Eldia's time, it looks like they're transforming instantly. But in this realm, because time flows differently, she's actually building these Titans from scratch. That's why the animation looks like they're being made up like gradually.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so anyway, like Zeke and Eren get transported into this realm. And at first Zeke is chained up.
Yeah.
Because presumably he doesn't really have any power over this Ymir character. And he wants to implore Eren to go through with his plan of sterilizing all Eldians so that the Eldian race eventually dies out. Well, not the Eldian race, but the Paradise race eventually dies out so that the people offshore don't have to fear Paradise anymore.
Yeah.
But the people on Paradise can live a long, comfortable life until they eventually die out because they can't reproduce.
Yeah.
So that's Zeke's plan for a peaceful resolution. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, there's so many parallels to real life leaders, you know, and there is no enemy but your ideology. Like, you will just think you're right.
Yeah, in his eyes, he's right. And like, it's hard to argue against as well.
Yeah, but
like,
it's just...
It is a peaceful way for them to go out, you know?
Yeah, it is, but it's also like, it's wrong as well.
Well,
I know, to me, that's morally wrong. It's almost as bad as genocide. You're basically choosing to wipe out a race. You're wiping out a race, regardless of how peaceful it is, you know? I mean, whether or not we're put here for a reason, like, I'm not sure if I believe in a higher power or not, but I don't think that gives anyone the right to just say, okay, you can just stop breeding now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't say he's in the right.
But that's the thing, no one is in the right in this show. That's the beauty of the show. Because there's conflict, you know, and you can see that in Mikasa's character, because her main conflict in this season, should she continue protecting Eren, you know, because what he's doing is Holocaust levels.
Yeah, well, Eren's point of view is, no, we're not doing the sterilization thing. Instead, we're going to flip it the other way around. We're going to kill everyone that's not
from
in
Paradise.
Paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a great plan either.
It's not a great. It's well, at this point, I don't know if Erwin knows what he's doing is wrong. He probably has some conscious about it, but he thinks this is the only choice.
Yeah. And a lot of that is telegraphed in his interactions, especially in the last episode.
Yeah.
Last episode, you get a flashback of when he interacted with people on Marley.
Yeah. When that scene was really funny, where they go party with the kids. The kid that stole his wallet or something, and
they
then
just
they
party
have a
with
good
them.
time. It's such a contrast to the show, because the show is so heavy, and they're just partying and eating good food.
But even before that, like the whole episode is kind of like filmed in a way that like it's kind of like you feel the wonder that like characters like Armin and Mikasa and Sasha and Connie and John, they're all feeling like, wow, look at this whole new world kind of thing. Look at this fucking ice cream, it's delicious. But the whole time Eren is like, it's pretty it's not great, because I'm gonna have to destroy all of this shit.
and even like, because Mikasa's a pretty stone-willed character throughout, but then she even is like, she acts a bit more feminine. Like, you know, I think they're kind of chalking it down, or she chalks it down to whether or not she should have just said, I like you, Eren, or, you know. And
do you think that would have changed anything?
Maybe, because like at the end of the day, we're human and we crave love. I think it's interesting because it's such a simple thing, but maybe a simple fact that Mikasa said, like, you know, I actually like you or love you. Okay, I'm not going to be I'm
not going to be a genocidal maniac. I'm not going to be Hitler.
No, I'm just going to friend zone you. Okay. Guess I'm going to kill absolutely everyone.
Which, you know,
it's a bit of an overreaction, perhaps.
No, but it is that kind of, it's a crossroads for sure. Eren is kind of like, he's at a point where he's decided, because he's had visions from the future as well, where he's seen that he's done all these atrocities. So he's like, oh, can I actually do it? Do I have any other options? And he's desperately seeking this other option from Mikasa, and she doesn't give it to him. And then it's like, I guess it's fate that I'm gonna kill all of these motherfuckers.
It's funny because humans are so complicated, yet we're so simple. Because I think it would have. I think it would have made a difference.
I think so.
Yeah.
But do you think she could have said it? Because like there's that whole other thing of like time dilation where like he's seen things that have happened, but if she like did that other thing, if she confessed her love, like that would have created a paradox where those things wouldn't have come to pass.
Yeah.
You know? So like it kind of creates this whole thing of like, is fate a thing? Like
the fatalist point of view.
Yeah, was all of this destined to happen? And that really comes into like play when he's like Zeke takes him through a journey on Grisha's memories.
Yeah.
So Zeke, upon realizing that Eren doesn't share his view that sterilizing all Eldians is the right way to go, he tries to convince him by taking them through a journey through Grisha's memories.
We have to mention this. Zeke has a especially loyal follower who helps them at the start, Yelena.
Oh, yeah. She's interesting.
She has a moment in this anime which I recently found out that many people have noticed this moment.
Right? How could you not notice that? It's so jarring. So like the point comes in when like a lot of stuff has kicked off and Eren is starting to fight Reiner, and like the scouts realize that actually their cause in protecting Eren is aligned with the volunteers, so Yelena's side of the story. So they're kind of working together, but for different reasons. And Armin is like, oh, we should protect Eren because maybe he doesn't want to actually go through the sterilization plan. And then Yelena gives him like the weirdest stink eye that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what
So
I call
Armin
the
is
stink
like
eye.
facing this way, and Yelena is over here behind him. I can't even do the poo.
and then she's just like, yeah, I believe in you.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange moment because I don't know what her intentions
What do you
are.
think the artist's intent? Was it just for a laugh?
No, it definitely wasn't for a laugh.
You don't think it was for a laugh? I reckon it was for a
I
bit of
don't
a
reckon
laugh.
it was.
Like a jump scary laugh.
It's. I don't know. I don't think it was for a laugh.
No.
You can't. I don't think you intentionally make something like that for a laugh. It's so fucking frightening.
Like initially, I thought there was more to it, but then as the series progresses, it seems like Yelena doesn't actually have that much power.
Yeah.
She kind of just turns into their prisoner, right? So at first I thought, oh, she's got like some shit that she's gonna pull out, but then she doesn't really.
Yeah, she doesn't really.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, maybe it was just a gag. Maybe it was just like a funny frame that somebody drew and they put it.
It's really funny.
Maybe it was just for a meme, and it has become a meme. So
yeah, it's really funny. Hang on, let's take a break. I just want to check the camera.
All right.
So we can probably do
A separate recording.
Yeah,
Audio?
let's do a separate recording. Another beer.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I mean, I guess we can just keep rolling. Yeah, we just went out to have some yakiniku.
We got a belly full of meat now, so we're pretty groggy. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, look, I'm just gonna go check the camera and the batteries, and then next minute go for dinner, and then have a belly full of beer and meat. Whoa, I'm very full. I've had almost a whole day of eating. Really?
Who told you to do that?
I don't know who told me to do that, Dan. I guess it was the mysterious tester.
What were we talking about? We were talking about Yelena's face.
Yes, Yelena's face.
So that was pretty funny. But I guess it leads on to the two factions splitting up, right? Like,
Yeah.
After Erwin goes all genocidal, Armin, Mikasa, and the other scouts, so John, Connie, they end up teaming up with some of the volunteers, so Magath and Gabby, and they take Yelena hostage because she's at this point the only one that knows where Erwin is heading, really. Like,
Yeah.
so any chance that they have to stop him rests on her, like giving them some information about where he's actually intending on going. So they go on a mission to stop Erwin. There's an episode where like the two factions are sitting around a campfire. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah, that's like the episode. That's pretty much just before the assault on the hub or the port.
Yeah, just before they try to capture that
and they're
airplane.
kind of talking about which ideology is correct, I guess. Yeah,
and I think that's where it kind of hit home for me, where like they're both kind of right, but also kind of wrong. Because Magath like says, he kind of like says that the only reason the scouts are trying to stop Erwin is because it's like an admission of guilt on their part, right?
Yeah.
Like they finally realize that they've been on the wrong side this whole time, so now they're siding with Magath and the other volunteers in a effort to kind of correct their mistakes. But on their point of view, it's kind of like, no, like the whole reason this whole thing started is because Berthold and Reiner like smashed down the wall, which resulted in Erin's mum getting killed, which drove Erwin to this course of action. And then Magath is like, oh, actually, like 2,000 years ago, your people started this by like creating the first Titans and starting it all off. So it kind of like demonstrated this kind of cyclical nature of hatred that has been coursing throughout this season. For you, like, I mean, there are obvious parallels to like the real world, but did you find yourself choosing a side at all, or were you like?
That's the thing. Like, I'm not sure what side I would be on. I mean, naturally, because I've grown up or gotten to know the Paradise Island side, I'm more inclined to side with them.
But that's the thing, like, even if we side with them, Eren is still kind of the villain, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like obviously choosing to side with the team of what they're doing now together, you know, this new alliance and whatnot. But like I guess that's where the story has led to people. But yeah, like I'm not sure. Like it's such a complicated matter because they're both right and they're both wrong. They're both doing very evil acts, but they're not evil people. None of them are really reveling in the killing of each other, you know. What the people that are doing that are honestly the people that are under the orders of whoever, you know. You see it a lot in like when they treat the prisoners, they're just like, you know, laughing at them or whatever.
You mean like Flock?
Yeah, like Flock. Yeah.
Flock is pretty evil.
Flock's pretty evil.
He's reveling a little bit, isn't he?
That's the thing. I think he's so into what he's doing that he doesn't realize what he's doing. He doesn't realize that he is an evil person, even if he thinks he's doing it for good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I've brought up this question a few times in like other properties.
Yeah.
Maybe I think Star Wars was one of them where I'm like, does the dark side ever think that they're the good guys? You know, like, is there a moment where they're like, obviously we're the bad guys. Look at the way we're dressed.
Yeah,
You know,
I feel like I think Star Wars is a very fictional account of good and like humanity.
Sure,
like
sure.
it's a very clear good versus evil story, and it's a good story, and I think it needs to be there as well. Like you can't really dive into Attack on Titan without having watched something like Star Wars, you know, something to set you on that path of knowing what is good, what is evil. That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's like stir the pie a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like even in Star Wars, Darth Vader like switches sides a bunch of times. He's
Oh,
like
yeah,
first
yeah,
he's good,
yeah.
then he's bad, then he turns good at the end.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for Star Wars, but
yeah,
but
I
he
think
at
everyone
never
knows.
at no point does Darth Vader look like a good guy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Actually, I guess the Star Wars is probably more complicated than I'm giving it credit for. I guess I haven't seen the original Star Wars in
Like,
a long time.
I guess my point is like in the mindset of Flock. Does he ever think like
he's
he's
evil.
doing the right thing? Because he's like
Well, I don't know.
he's like executing like people, and I guess his role in the like Jaegerist movement, right,
Yeah.
is to. So his goal is by supporting Eren in this genocidal rampage. They're killing all enemies of Paradise offshore.
Yeah.
But his main role is to like destroy any dissent from within the walls. So he's taking out any threats that might develop in the walls. So anybody that disagrees with their point of view within the walls of Paradise, he's like tasked himself with taking care of that. So people like what's that fucking drill sergeant's name again? Very important character. Shardis, yeah. So people like Shardis, like they kick the shit out of him because like he represents like the old regime, like the old way of thinking. People like the Azumabito clan, like
the
they're kind of
Japanese.
the Japanese people. They kind of like sympathize with Eldians in the past, so like they could create problems like in the new regime, I guess. So he's kind of like taking care of them as well. But like he's so evil in this season.
Yeah,
I didn't expect him to have such a big role because I don't know if
he was
you
just some
remember,
dude
right? Like
during
he was
the-
the guy that's dragged Erwin's body back from the brink of death.
Oh, was he? Yeah, I
I
didn't
think
remember
so.
that.
Yeah, when they made that charge, right, on the Beast Titan.
Okay, was that him?
The Beast Titan was like chucking rocks at them, and like pretty much they all get wrecked. But one soldier drags Erwin's body back, and then that creates
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
choice
remember
of turning Armin or turning Erwin.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Block.
Yeah,
that does that.
Is it? Okay. I remember there might have been someone who wasn't impressed with the idea of bringing Erwin back, but
Armin back or
Armin, sorry, yeah. So they're like, you should have picked Erwin.
How do you feel about that choice?
Again, I don't know. Like, I think I really liked Erwin.
Do you think if Erwin got the Colossal Titan, things would be better or things would be worse?
I think that'd be the same. I think there would just be another cycle of hatred. There'd probably be a bit more tactical planning and that kind of stuff. But
I think Erwin would have tried to stop Eren though. He would have tried harder to stop Eren than Armin did, because Armin has that like personal connection to Eren, so he trusts him maybe more than he should.
But I think Eren still would have found a way.
Eren probably would have killed Erwin in there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
probably. But yeah, like I don't know, like for me, when Levi ended up giving Armin that serum, I think one stipulation was like, don't let us regret this choice.
Yeah.
Like, don't let anybody regret the choice to turn you into the Colossal Titan.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think in this season, Armin was like, he himself regretted that choice. He was like, actually, Erwin should have been the one.
Yeah, I think he said that, yeah.
So, like, that's a bit rough. Of a letdown.
Yeah. I think,
Rubbish character, Armin.
I don't know, I feel like, yeah, it's tough because you don't really know. That's the thing about this show. You don't know what the right choice. The choice is what you've got at the time. It's like when I think Armin has a bit of a freak out at one point when he's gonna go stop Connie from feeding Falco to his mum. And Mikasa's like, what about this? What about that? And he's like, I don't have like time.
I don't fucking have time for you.
I can only do one thing at a time. Like, it's just like, this is the thing I can do now. And it's like that.
I think that's when he regretted like everyone's decision to put him in charge, because he was like, Erwin would never have snapped like that. Yeah, I think that was the point where it's like, oh, actually, maybe Erwin was better.
But like, you can't really, like, if you're in Armin's shoes, or if I was in Armin's shoes and thinking logically, or maybe from a third person view, it's kind of like you can't really think like that anymore, because like the choice has been made. It is what it is. You know, you can't change that. Like, you might regret it, but you gotta keep moving forward, as Eren says, right?
Yeah. Okay. If we're gonna support Eren's ideology, yeah. So he does a big old betrayal on Zeke. He says, "No, I'm not doing your euthanasia plan. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to destroy everyone else that is against us offshore." Within that kind of realm where Zeke, him, and Ymir exist, he manages to somehow convince Ymir to actually like not euthanize everyone. He manages to convince her to actually just do the rumbling, which, I mean, that was pretty interesting, because typically Ymir is supposed to follow the orders of the royal bloodline, right? Which Eren is not a part of, but Zeke has that royal blood. Like, how did you feel about that whole sequence in that weird realm? Because like typically in this kind of anime, this is the part where it starts to get a bit weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like
it's
Evangelion,
like the
kind of vibe.
I liked it. I think it was interesting to see, kind of a tease that you think Eren is going to do something good. He's going to be like, no, this is a bad plan. I don't want to be part of this. And then suddenly, okay, I'm just going to kill everyone. and then it's like, oh, shit, like he's doubled down. He's kind of, he's lost his mind, really, at this point.
Well, I mean, like, prior to that, we get a flashback of like Grisha's memories, and that kind of justifies Eren's stand, like especially the part where Grisha is like confronting the royal family.
Yeah.
And he's like, please help these people, like end this kind of thing. And the royal family's like, actually, no, I don't want to, because we renounce war or whatever.
Yeah.
And then and like there's that point where Eren is like communicating to his father, like through time, kind of thing, and like it's such an evil moment, but it's also kind of like I kind of see where he's coming from as well, because you know, like this royal family, like they're resigned to like not really do anything, but all that time, like people are just getting killed by these titans, but it's like they don't really care about that because they're so high above it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which again kind of parallels real life.
It's tough, man. I mean, I don't want to be a fucking politician or
we don't want to get political on this podcast, but
it's what do you think about the explanation behind Zeke's pitching arm? You know, how he got his powers with that? Just because he's just really good at throwing baseball with the guy. It's funny how that is like the Beast Titan's power. He's just good at throwing things. Because I initially had forgotten that the Beast Titan can control Titans. So I was like, his power is just he's really good at throwing things.
He's got a good arm.
And being kind of a big tank dude. But no, he's got other powers. But it's like, I thought that was the Beast Titan's power that was inherited from like the previous Beast Titans.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the Titans are kind of like they kind of overlap a lot of the time. Like Reiner is the armored Titan, right?
Yeah.
But Eren's hardening is better than Reiner's armor.
No, didn't he get the hardening from the Warhammer Titan?
Yeah. So the Warhammer's hardening is better than the armored Titan, but the armored Titan, that's literally his only thing, right? And also, like, the female Titan is a thing. But
why is it just the female Titan?
Why is it just the female? What happens if a male gets the female Titan? So, like, and then there's, like, weird hybrids. Like, Falco's Jaw Titan kind of looks like the Beast Titan because it's got, like, fur and shit. Because I guess it had Zeke's spinal fluid in him. So he's, like, a weird hybrid. So, and then the Attack Titan can, like, see through time. So...
The Cart Titan is just good at staying a Titan for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Cart Titan, I don't know, it might get a pass because she's had a bunch of training. I don't know. Like, Piek, the controller of the Cart Titan, seems like she knows what she's doing. It seems like she's working with, like, what little she has. She's making a lot of use out of what little she has. Because the Cart Titan is just a nimble Titan, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but like, you know, they strap like machine guns on her shit.
Yeah, and
like,
she's got like a strategic eye.
She's one of It's I don't know. Sometimes it's tricky. I guess it's the same when you're writing maybe superheroes. The powers will just eventually overlap.
Yeah, and like, sometimes it's just like it does what you need it to do plot wise.
Yeah.
But I did like. As much as I hate like time travel stuff because it gives me a headache, I did kind of like the stuff they did with the Attack Titan, like how Eren can kind of see like everybody's memories, every holder of the Attack Titan's memories, like past and future, was pretty cool, and like Grisha as well could see that. So it was really cool to see them kind of communicating through time, purely because like Grisha can see future memories of Eren. So like literally while he's experiencing the moment, he can also see future Eren like
when
talking
he's
to him. That was just a really cool use of time dilation. I found.
What do you think Eren has seen?
I think he's seen the end of it all, probably, like as in the end of the anime and the end of the manga. So like this is another interesting point. I didn't see this initially, but upon researching, like when he makes contact with like a royal blood member, there's like these really quick flashes of like memories.
Yeah, I think I might have noticed that, but I didn't really pay that much attention to it.
Some of it is like past memories that we've seen throughout the anime. Some of it are future memories that we do see in the anime as well. But some of it is also alternate realities, stuff from like manga series that I've not looked into, but like exists in our real world. You know, there's flashes of this like short series where like the characters Mikasa, Armin and stuff, they're just attending high school and they all have like different kind of personalities. Like Mikasa is a goth chick and Armin is like...
What, during one of the flashes?
Yeah, during one of the flashes, it's like a screenshot of like them as those characters, which is... It's really interesting. It's like... It's probably just a gag on the animator's part, like, by the way, this exists kind of thing, you know? But like it might be also just like a glimpse that the Attack Titan can see alternate realities. So maybe the future isn't set in stone.
That's it. That's very interesting. Like, I didn't spot that. And
no, I didn't.
You're probably right. We probably could have just been someone who's just having a bit of fun in their nose. And then like he's put that in, and now it's up to people like us to pick it apart and just say, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that.
Sure. It was like when they put that Raimi Spider-Man poster in the Morbius trailer, and everyone was like, "Are they connected? Are the universes connecting finally?"
Yeah.
And then it was just a shit movie.
Yeah. Actually, we haven't talked about it. We kind of talked about the opening songs before, the nationalistic muse.
Yeah.
But what are your favorite songs or the opening?
Honestly, before you came here, my only like, because it had been so long since I seen like the other series, my only like memory of the songs were the rumbling, like the song The Rumbling, because they're so good as well. Like rumbling. It's like so pump worthy. But then when you came and you started playing like the more nationalistic stuff, like Sasageyooo, Sasageyooo. Those are good too. They're all pretty good tracks.
They're all good songs. It's hard to pick. Like I think I was telling you before, if I were to pick songs that were the most fitting for Attack on Titan, would be all the Linked Horizon songs. Like the first one was it called, like Guren or something? Gurenge, yeah. And then I forgot what the second one was called. I think the third one is Shinzo Sasageyooo. That's then like they're fighting the Beast Titan basically. But like I think my favorite songs that I like to listen to would be the Rumbling and then Red Swan.
But lose it all, slip and fall.
But I also like the previous final season song where it's like it's the biggest change in songs and it's got all the like war imagery.
It's a lot of like the Titans are dropping from the Zeppelins.
I'm just suddenly gone blank on how it goes. It's like my whoa, and that song is really weird. It's very like experimental, little bit heavy, and there's this really, if you listen to the full song, there's like this really out of place.
This song.
Better stop now. So copyright and whatnot.
Don't want to get demonetized, but yes.
So
I remember the song now.
And it's got this really weird like kind of like female vocals in it that are just like very cute sounding, and it sounds really out of place. It's a strange song. And apparently the band, the lead singer is a bit of a weirdo as well. Like posts weird shit on his Instagram, but like
stuff.
It's I think that opening was initially polarizing. A lot of people didn't like it at first because it's so different. And I think that's in theme with season 4
of season 4
because it's very different. You got the famous like in that scene the Nazi walk, or you know, if for the more PC people, the hyena walk from the Lion King, which was, you know, inspired by the Nazis as well.
That's your childhood ruined, guys.
The
hyenas are Nazis.
This is not related to Attack on Titan at all, and I haven't seen this movie. But did you know that they got rid of the villain song from the Lion King remake? Be prepared.
Why?
Because Nazis.
Okay, I haven't seen the Lion King remake, so I don't know how
I didn't know
closely they
either,
stuck
but they
to
got
it.
rid of it. He basically just talks it. And it's just like, yeah. So they got rid of all that really cool. And that was my favorite villain song as a kid.
It's a pretty good villain song. Yeah.
It's just...
I mean, I was too young to notice the imagery.
No,
but
I didn't notice the imagery, but I knew it was evil. And that's the point. It's evil.
yeah.
But
is it evil though? If we're talking about all sides of the
there we
spectrum, you know, like they're not all devils. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard, man. Like this whole thing of everybody has a point of view is like a slippery. It's a narrow line to tread because, you know, you can't really say that Nazis are right.
no, you can't.
have a valid point of view.
But like, we'll probably get banned from talking about this, but the Nazi ideology is evil. You know, you're wiping out. It's genocide, and that's the same with Aryans as well.
Okay, yeah.
It's genocide. That's the thing. Like, what makes an evil person? Is it their actions? Because these people don't believe that they're doing evil things, you know?
And Aaron justifies it as well. Like, when he first revealed his plan, I must admit, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
There you go. Are you an evil person for contemplating that?
But, like, because of Armin's reaction, I was like, okay, yeah, obviously it's not right.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, people on Zeke's point of view as well. They're like, the euthanasia plan is, like, the right course of action. I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense too. Like they both would have a peaceful end in that case, but like that's obviously not right either.
Yeah.
So maybe there's just no right way to run the world. I don't know.
That's right. The only way to run the world is to finish the damn series next year.
It's to just get to the point where you're just over war, where we're this kind of like we're doing a podcast about like the morality of war, where we're like we don't give a fuck really.
It's
because it's so far removed from our reality that
it is. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we should wrap this up by talking about the highlights of this season. Season 4. What was your favorite part?
I was telling you this over dinner, and it's probably for the wrong reasons, but I did enjoy the attack on the port, but just for like how conflicted, because there's a scene where Connie and Jean, they have to accommodate this, Connie and Armin, because they have to accommodate this kind of like boat submarine thing, and then they're like, they get busted and they're basically forced to kill at a point where they might have to kill their comrades. And then like one of them shoots Armin, and then Connie is just like, he tackles and wrestles the guy, and he's like, aren't we friends? And it's just it's so tragic, but the melodrama of that moment was so heightened because there's so much conflict. It's like the conflict is boiling over because they're forced to kill his friend, and then Connie, like, you don't even know these two guys. Like, I don't remember seeing them throughout the show.
They're
just these two random dudes, like to
us.
us. But then to be like kind of that efficient and just have that moment where you feel bad for like these two guys and you don't
know what's going on. They've chosen a side, and as far as they know, this is the right side that they've chosen. So it's baffling that Connie and Armin can be on the other side of this fight.
And basically, it's like Connie like shoots the shit out of the guy, and he's like, ah!
And like Attack on Titan, if you disregard everything else that's good in this show, like, the one thing that stands out to me is like the facial expressions
I don't even sure I'm doing it properly. But, like, you know, I think people.
But like the facial expressions are so on point, you know what I mean? And in that moment as well, like Connie's like as he's shooting the guy on the floor, it's like it's like
pretty like
so expressive.
It's a very gut-wrenching moment, and I couldn't help but laugh. I don't think it was funny. It's just because there's just so much emotion.
It's also because you've seen that kind of melodrama before.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of melodrama.
It's like a lot of like Korean movies have that kind of vibe as well. It's like really dramatic. I mean, call us like unfeeling assholes if you like, but we have been fairly desensitized.
I think we have. But hey, you know, we're growing up alright.
We enjoy it still.
Yeah, definitely. What's your favorite moment?
I really like the part where Connie like abducts Falco and he like tricks him into thinking like they're going to a hospital, and then he's trying to feed Falco to his mum, but like on the DL. So like he himself isn't really committed to this act of like this atrocious act. So he's got his mum there and he's like, Falco, I just want to show you something. Just come over here and have a look at this Titan's teeth.
He gets him to try to brush his teeth. And
I was like, what are you doing? Because like after that point, it's kind of like you feel like he might commit to like throwing Falco in there. But then when he gets there, he like obviously doesn't have the stomach for it. And like he kind of half-asses like the whole murder thing. Because like Connie is a secondary character, I guess. Like I've always kind of discounted him as like just this bald guy that's like in the background. So for him to have like this kind of moment where like he might do something like critical, but then when it gets down to it, it's like, actually, nah. I'm not gonna make that much of an impact.
It's kind of funny how
Falco, look at this guy's look at his teeth, isn't it cool? Why don't you just get in there and brush his teeth a little?
I was like, what the fuck are you brushing on Tyler's teeth? It's so weird. I was about to say, it's funny how Bertha highlights it with Connie, the secondary character. It's just, I think they used him pretty well in this season.
I hope he gets a point where we can take him seriously, though.
It's probably going to be the next one to die, maybe.
You reckon?
I don't know. We'll see.
We will see. And so season 4, part 3, apparently the last part. I admit I was pretty salty when this wasn't the last part, but like
I was a bit salty.
More Attack on Titan is a good thing, I guess.
Boone told me that he finished watching the season, and it's like, it's not finished yet. Like, no, it's gonna finish this year, because I hadn't heard about them postponing it. So I thought he just hadn't watched it all. I thought, it's gonna finish, and it's like, no, they're actually like gonna finish it next year, 2023, 4 episodes. Like, just. I love the show, but just stop milking it for a moment. Just you know, I mean, it better be a damn good 4 episodes, because like, as with every like, you know, great series, it is its end that's the most important. Look at Game of Thrones.
But do you think there was wasted time in this second half of the 4th season? Do you think there was filler?
I feel like Attack on Titan is pretty efficient. A lot of people who probably have read the manga will say, it's there was some time wasted, but who knows?
It doesn't. To me, when I first watched it and I found out that it wasn't ending, I was like, man, nothing happened. But then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, actually a lot happened.
It's a lot. It's pretty retrospective. About it. But,
so, I mean, I'm fine with it continuing on. I think hopefully it ends, because I do want to see the end before the end of my lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to get to the point of fatigue as well, because a lot of the time, like, I don't finish anime because of just series fatigue.
Yeah,
you know,
but I
like
think it's definitely gonna. They can't. There's not much more that can happen. But yeah, I guess we better wrap this up because there's a shootout going on in your house.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait, who do you think will win in the end?
Ooh. I'm gonna say that there's gonna be a good ending, and the Alliance are gonna win. This new Alliance. Yeah. What about you?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
I don't think
have
they're
the
gonna
guts to
put
let
that much of
Eren
a
win.
downer.
I mean, he's already destroyed a lot, so
Yeah.
he's destroyed all of Liberia pretty much. But I don't think they'll let him destroy the world. I don't think there will be a peaceful resolution. I don't think Armin was gonna be able to talk it out with Eren.
Yeah, I think they will probably kill Eren. That's
And I
the
think
only
he
way.
will see it coming because he's seen the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it from us, right?
That's it.
All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Let us know what you think about this second half of the fourth season. Well, the fourth season in general, anyway. Are you liking where it's going? Is there anything that we missed? There's a lot in this season. There are a lot of like small details that I mentioned. There's a lot of foreshadowing from the previous seasons as well. Let us know what we missed in the comments. You can get in touch with us as well at 2asianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram at 2asianblokes if you want to see what we're up to. Thank you for listening, as always, and we're off to do some karaoke.
Yeah.
Yay!
Awesome.
It's been ages since we did karaoke together, Tavi.
Yes, we're gonna sing the rumbling, so maybe
Rumbling,
you might see that on our
rumbling.
Instagrams. But thanks a lot again, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.